What a beautiful day this could have been for a motorcycle trip. But unfortunately, we are stuck here in the garage. It's time to sit down, stare and think. You see, I made this to-do list last year and I managed to finish up 30 important tasks. And that's great. It's time to start a new chapter. The new list I made for this year has just 15 tasks. Some are important, others are just things I want to do. My clutch is not behaving as it should, difficult to make a smooth takeoff. I don't have a speedometer, and I really need a quick release for my tablet. And there is other important stuff as well. I really need to get my bike ready this summer. So what I'm about to do makes no sense. This is me and my vintage motorcycle. And this is Thomas and his brand new motorcycle. We have planned to go on a road trip for quite some time. Thomas is starting to lose his patience and wonder if the trip is ever gonna happen. The problem has been my motorcycle. Even though I've made some huge improvements, I still have some tasks I need to do before the bike is ready for an adventure trip. There are many good reasons for why it's smart to make a to-do list. The main purpose is to break down the project. So if the project is big, maybe it's a bit daunting, challenging, and you don't really know where to start, spend some time, set up a to-do list and prioritize the tasks. Either the most important tasks first or the natural task. Sometimes one task has to be done after another task is done. So you will somehow get a system where the first task is what you do first and the last task is when you are finishing up the project. It breaks down the big project into manageable pieces, and it's a very smart way to get it a bit more motivating to do it, because you can check out one tasks as you finish them. And that is pretty great. And that is what I have done on this bike. And now I'm gonna do the complete opposite. This is the least important task. It's almost at the bottom of my task list. I've really done all the most important tasks. So now it is the medium to non-important tasks remaining. At the bottom of my task list, or my to-do list, it's the tasks I want to do. Not I need to do it, but I want to do it. And typically it is about the visual appearance, the styling of the bike. And I always wanted to replace this seat cover. It is a bit damaged. It has several parts here where it is cracked. But most of all, I don't like the color. It is not the original. You can see here the previous owner has replaced it. But I do think the original seat cover also was blue. This is how I think the bike looked like when it was new. A lot of fancy colors. I'm not that happy with it. I would like to have it black. So I'll replace this with a black seat cover, and that's just mostly for the look. There is one issue. It is a bit slippery when I'm sitting on the bike with my Gore-Tex pants. Yeah, it's like I'm sliding a bit on the seat. And especially if I'm driving a bit aggressive in the corners, I feel I'm not stuck to the seat. So I have got a new seat cover, which is more knobbly surface and more textured surface and more like a rubberish vinyl. So I think that's better and it has the right color for me. So yeah, why? Why am I now jumping to the bottom of the task list when I have more important tasks at the top? Well, motivation. Again, I have now done so much work on the bike that has been important, and I would just want to make one fun little easy project now out of this last task. That's not really important, but it will be very visible, and I think it will make the bike much cooler. And sometimes you just gotta do a project or a task that is fun just to get the spirit up. So I have bought some parts. I have put it here in my newly built storage system in S9. This is the new seat cover. I have a spare one. Stainless steel staples. Glue in spray can. And glue and a secret box here. Okay. Oh, okay. The seat cover is taken off, and it was even worse than I thought. And I must say, I can see there are some writings here. Diana, that is an Italian surname. And I can see it's written above this terrible messy glue. So Diana, if you was the previous owner who got this repaired, or if you are the one who repaired it, well, it's done a pretty bad job, I must say. First of all, don't use staples that rust. Use stainless steel staples. And what should I say? The staples was put on at the edge, so we had probably penetrated through the plastic. Yeah, and what a messy way to put on the glue. I will try to do it a bit better. And I can see there is a thin layer on top of the base layer. That is what I have in my secret box. And I can see right away that the foam I have bought is a lot thicker than this one. That can be a challenge. Another challenge I know about is my new seat cover. It is elastic in the wrong direction. More about that later. So there is a couple of challenges to this project. I don't have the perfect material, but hopefully it's good enough. I'm not sure if this top cover is the original or if this is something the previous owner added on to try to improve the problems. It's very typical that the base layer is a bit more heavy and then there is a thin top layer to get small imperfections out of the way. Oh. Okay. That was not good. I do think this top layer actually is original. I can see the previous owner or repair man, woman has tried to fix some missing piece here, adding on something. That was a fiddly job. Used a knife blade at the end there to get away the last part that was most stuck. But now it's done. I've also taken off the foam part from the seat plastic base. So this one needs proper cleaning. What is even this one? Oh, okay, whatever. And I need to do some damage control. This one has a big crack. Yeah, a bit of glue and a bit of cleaning. That's the next. That was heck of a job. This is actually the next day. I spent, I think, 5 hours yesterday evening cleaning all this stuff, and I'll spend some hours today as well. This even doesn't look clean, does it? It mostly discoloration. The cleaning job on this one helps to make sure the next layer of glue is sticking. I actually have modified it, made a cutout here, because there is an area here where it actually didn't lay flat on top of the base. Also, I have glued on 2 small dots here. Not that important, but the die casting or the base plate didn't really fit with the foam. So the Italians made some shortcuts there in the 90s when they made this. But I've improved it. Now it is a perfect fit. I've also repaired this foam using the Pattex contact glue. Really a good glue to put on, easy to apply on both sides. Just waiting 10 minutes and then pressing it together, and it really sits perfectly on the foam. Yeah, I can really recommend this Pattex contact glue. Very, very nice. The base, it looks pretty nice, doesn't it? But it's not if you get close, so you're not gonna get close here. But much better, much better. So what I ended up doing to get it clean, I put on oil, because I read that the oil can soften up, loosen up the glue, the old one. I'm not sure if it helped that much. Maybe the best would be to get a glue remover. What really ended up being the solution was to use rubbing compound and this padding mat. I've degreased it, washed it, used isopropanol alcohol, trying to get it as clean as possible. I also went over with a sander to get rid of all the sharp edges. Time to start applying the glue. I have made some drawings here where I will put on the glue similar as how it was original. And I have masked away the part where I don't want glue. I will be using a bigger brush this time. It's my self-made 3D printed flexible brush. I think I will start with the base. That was fun and not difficult. Easy task if you have a friend, not like me. You and me are friends, but to help out in the garage. Maybe 2 people could have done this a bit safer to align it front and rear and front. Maybe I got it a bit skewed on one side, but I think it's okay. I took a knife and I cut away a tiny bit of the edge here on this side. I felt it came a bit too much out on the side, while this one was better. Tiny bit there. It feels like the foam has become wider during these 35 years. It now feels quite rigid and almost back to where I started. The secret package. The foam I have bought is 5 millimeters, and it's plenty enough. I think the original one was 3 millimeters when I measured it, and I think 3 millimeters is what's recommended. So this is a bit thicker, and maybe that's good. This old seat have more to cover it up with. I think the next task is going to be both more fun and easier to do. I'm going to use this 3M spray glue, same type of glue, and I've tested it on 2 foam pieces. Yeah, this sits really good, almost too good. Will not be easy for the next one to remove this. The idea now is to take this thin foam and put it around the edge so it protects the cover from being damaged here in the edge. Instead of trying to cut this to the right size now, I just apply the glue, wrap it on, and cut it with a scissor later. Then it's just to wait 5 minutes. And then I want 1 centimeters overlap, approximately. So I think I'll just mask off this as well. Okay, doing the first test here. That was not a smart move. I took a couple of days off, cut my hair, sat some hours in the sun, got sunburnt on my forehead and my nose. So there is nothing wrong with your display. Everything is just a bit more red now. But luckily, this turned out pretty good. The thin foam I put on was super simple to stretch out and make it lay flush over the base foam. And you can see now this overlap here, approximately 1 centimeter, will hopefully protect the new cover so it's not cracking here in the edges, where it will be stretched pretty firm around. Here is my new seat cover. Look at this beautiful textured surface. Isn't it nice? What I've done now is to put it out here under my heater for a while, heated up my whole garage and blown hot air onto the surface here to get it as flexible as possible. You should not do this in a cold room. There is one big problem with this seat cover. I'm not sure why it's made like this, but it's flexible in the wrong direction. This kind of vinyl is typically very flexible in one direction and a tiny bit flexible, not that much in the other direction. And the best is to have it flexible in the direction where you're gonna bend it mostly. So this is gonna be bent up like this, where the seat goes upwards, and then when this is gonna be bent down along the sides, this needs to be stretched. You know, like a wheel, it will have a curve, and then this side needs to be stretched. But this, unfortunately, it's mostly stretchy in this direction. I can easily, without applying much force, stretch it this way. But this way, not so much, a tiny bit. So it's somehow cut in the wrong direction. I will try it out anyway. Let's see how it goes. When it comes to putting on the seat cover, you're not gonna get any good tips from me, because this is actually the first time I'm doing it. I've replaced seat covers previously, but they were designed to the seat, so they were like had seams and was very easy to wrap around. This one, this stretchy thing, I just need to figure it out. What I've seen is that you should start having it pretty tight this direction, and then you start to wrap it around the edges and get it tight. But I don't think I can do it because it's not stretchy in the right direction. So I will have it like semi-tight, I think. Start with each end and then try to see if this is even doable, because it's not. I'm not even sure if this is gonna work. At least what I figured out was that you cannot use the stapler for number 13 when you have bought stainless steel staples that has number 53. So I had to buy a new stapler. The professionals one use a air gun stapler. I have one of those as well, but not for the correct staples. Why can't there be a standard? Okay, enough rambling, let me just get started. Maybe you can see it, I'm not quite sure if I'm even gonna manage to do this in a proper way. Yeah, I'm on thin ice here, but gotta give it a shot. Alright, that did not work. Well, I gave it a shot, so you don't have to. I'll show you here the reason. These pieces has now been laying out in the sun, so they are quite hot and flexible. But as I mentioned, in one direction, not so flexible, in the other direction, much more flexible. And it's very easy to see with this one. I cut them to approximately 10 centimeters, and if I drag this in a non-flexible way, I can maybe drag it some millimeters, maybe half a centimeter, so not very, maybe then 5%. This is cut in the opposite direction, in the flexible direction. I can easily stretch it to 15, so then at least 50%. And of course, when you see the seat on the Cagiva, it is very much tilted upwards. So if I measure this top piece of the seat, it's approximately 80 centimeters. If I measure this bottom part, where I need to stretch the fabric, it's about 1 meter. So I need at least to stretch the fabric 20% to get it around at the bottom part. So I cannot use the fabric I have bought. I need to buy a new one, and I have. So this is actually more than 1 week later. I just arrived the new seat cover today. I've got it laying out in the sun. It's extremely hot today. You can see I'm already starting to sweat. And I wanted to keep it hot in here because it makes the fabric more elastic. Let me show you the new one. The new one has a much more subtle texture, possibly good, makes it easier to keep it clean. The old one, I like that better because it has this knobbly, cool texture. Both of them are no slippery, so I think this will work out better. It's also much thinner and it feels even more elastic than the previous one. This was not easy. If you're ever gonna take upon a job like this, yeah, just be aware. It's not gonna be as simple as it looks like. All my respect to all of you upholsters out there doing jobs like this. Yeah, my sweat is proof for my struggle. I did the last job outdoors in the sun to get the fabric even softer than I could get it in here, and maybe I even could have put it on tighter, but well, it's time to try it out on the bike. I have good hopes for it. It does look nice with this diamond pattern, or what to call it. Okay, I haven't tested it yet. You and me are now the first one that's gonna see how this is gonna look like from blue to black seat cover. Crossing fingers. And there it is. Okay, my first observation. Could have been tighter there. How do you think it looks? I think maybe I am pretty happy. I can clean it a bit. Let's compare how it looks now and before. So, what do you think? Are you as happy as I am? And I can also tick off this item on my task list. Seat cover replace.